actually pick on frequency. But yeah, also you have to consider legal things because certain frequencies are restricted to, let's say, emergency services.
Yeah. Here, emergency services are now on like encrypted channels. I think they use those Motorola radios that scatter across like multiple channels and encrypt their communications.
But I did do some research on both Britain and US laws in relation to this some time ago, and they are quite stringent.
Because I used to intercept all that stuff, right? Like I bought a big dish and I put it up on my roof. And I used to be able to point it around town and just like get all the police, get all the ambulances, get all the military, everything. And then I think it was around 2010. It all switched, and now I can only get like airplanes. And that's basically it. And like truckies and stuff.
Various legislation.
That's when they took over our freaking. That's when they took over our internet and gave us this foolishness. God bless the URL.
It was pretty crazy though when I could get the cops.
You know, I still say we shouldn't have gone this route when it comes to the internet. You know, I still say it. I mean,
web.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
what do you mean this route?
Huh?
What do you mean this route?
Where we got off of analog and started playing with the internet the way we have with a URL, universal locator and shit. That's only for tracking, basically. You know.
No, that's just it's just a convenience then, and an address then.
You know how faster we would have gotten to wireless if we would have just skipped this whole process and went straight, or kept analog and just advanced analog further than what it actually went. Like we could be so much farther in technology.
I'm not sure I agree or even understand.
It's like whenever we did that one episode about the internet's a scam and we were talking about max headroom. I stopped and thought about that afterwards. I was like, you know, that's kind of like I would say that was done on purpose to where they could cause people to freaking think it was okay to freaking put up regulations and shit, because right after that happened they started getting harsher on the internet, even more harsher on the internet laws, you know. And
can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I've been talking to myself for like 10 minutes.
Say it all over again.
Did you hear what I said about intercepting the radio?
Yeah.
Okay. And I thought, did you hear what I said about intercepting the police radio?
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Okay. I just don't know when my mic cut out, that's all.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, so you did hear that. All right.
No. Cool. Well, I mean, it just depends on, like, you could have said the same shit over again. That's all I'm saying. Like,
well, I was just saying, like, when I was intercepting police radio, they would, like, pull people over and read their entire histories out over the radio, and, like, and they wouldn't even realize that, you know, you could pick that up anywhere. It's, like, total unencrypted communication, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you could, yeah, if I was a bit more organized, I could keep track of like everyone's history in town, basically.
Mind you, if it's a successful criminal action, then that's publicly available anyway.
You can always use crystals to freaking make it to where they can only get like a certain frequency. So you can change the frequency according to the crystals that you put in your device.
Are we talking about
No.
magic?
Yeah.
No, we're talking about resonance.
Like, you know what crystals and technologies uses, actually, don't you? Like, what's it?
Yeah, we
You mean
all
like
remember the
piezoelectricity?
1940s crystal radios. Or some of us do.
Everybody hears crystals and they think, oh, he's getting back to the 1940s and shit. No, dude, it's actually crystals and chips and stuff like that is actually useful.
Oh, you're talking about silicon.
Crystals, period. Anything. Silicon's fine. I mean,
Okay. Silicon being the basis of modern technology.
What's their function?
Yeah.
it helps
Yes.
you. Oh, go ahead. Crystals. If you use crystals, you can actually transform one frequency into another.
You seem to have some echo on your side.
Yeah.
So it says here they are employed as oscillators. These oscillators rely on piezoelectric property of quartz, where applied electric field causes the crystal to vibrate at a specific resonant frequency, producing a stable clock signal essential for synchronizing operations across digital circuits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, remember, all real-time clocks are still using crystals.
Yeah, this clock signal drives microprocessors, memory controllers, and other components, ensuring accurate timing and coordination. Yeah. I didn't know they use crystals in that.
Well, you've come across in your day-to-day activities, you see RTC-based chips all the time, don't you?
What?
RTC chips.
What base chips?
Real-time clock.
RTC.
RTC.
Nah, that. It says quartz crystals are commonly found on motherboards, graphics cards, and peripheral devices where they provide a stable reference frequency that maintains operational integrity of components such as network cards, Wi-Fi modules, and Bluetooth chips.
Timing
I
devices.
didn't even know that.
Timing devices. Yeah.
One of these days, you guys
There you go.
will listen to that
Y'all
dummy
just told
around.
us something.
I've taught you a couple things.
Right.
It's just you guys don't remember it long term. And it's like as soon as I start talking stupid, all the smart stuff I've said is just like flushed down the toilet. You know what I mean? It's-
Oh, hardly. We are talking.
Oh, you know
it's
true. You know it's true. Like I'll say something smart, and then next thing you know, like half an hour later, I'm saying something really stupid, and you guys all just completely forgot about the smart stuff.
No, we're talking smart.
It's mainly that you
stuff.
discredit yourself, and now we think you're just a kook or
Oh, yeah,
a nutcase or
Yeah.
conspiracy theorist, maybe.
I think that I fit perfectly in this crowd right here when it comes to everything you just mentioned. Okay. If we
Well,
had V and no, not Nancy, not together. They'd have to be separate.
As an example, how many times have me and you been on doing our own streams, and we've had the entire stream just sensible conversations?
We do it a lot more than what everybody else does. I'll put it to you that way. Like, even with Mr. Robot, like freaking me, you, and Mr. Robot, we actually do have regular conversations that don't have to do with crazy shit.
I think if we want to improve our show in the future, I probably will have to bite the bullet and just, turn on my camera at some stage.
I'll tell you another thing that'll
That'll
improve the quality is turn that speaker the other direction where it doesn't go into your microphone, because we're getting like background
You are
Okay.
assuming that Mr. Robot's got a maneuverable this speaker.
It's always his speaker. He- we take care of this almost every time. Just kind of like turn it another direction.
Or use some headsets.
that better?
or something.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? My mic's probably just turned up too high now.
Okay, could be.
There you go. It went quiet.
Okay, a microphone that does good background noise. This
Mhm.
Can you
removal.
still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Bit quiet
Is
now.
it too loud?
And plus I'm gonna have to like sit down with you guys and give you like lessons in audio. That way, you guys can learn how to use your mic and your speakers. Because I'm not an expert, but I'm a hell of a lot better than what you guys are.
I've done some AV stuff in the past. Actually, no, this microphone that I'm using at the moment got perfect noise distribution.
You know how long it took for you to find that microphone, dude?
Granted, it took me some time, but unless you experiment with these technologies, how do you know?
Look, I was here this whole freaking time, okay? You can't freaking dodge out on me, dude. You can play that shit with anybody else you want, but me and you were, and Mr. Robot sometimes, were there when you were like having your microphone problems. So freaking I was there. I got to see it.
Yeah, granted.
You can get away with that with everybody else, but you can't get away with that with me, dude. Like those earbuds you had where you thought you could freaking keep one that was still good and get rid of the other one and put a new one in, like you were going to save on freaking energy or some shit. Remember that?
Actually, no, I used this Jabra headset almost on a daily basis if I'm out anywhere.
That one right there you've had for a while, a good 3 or 4.
Yeah, the 7 Jabra Elite 7 Pro headset. I actually like Jabra. This is probably the third model I've had from Jabra, and I've been somewhat impressed with all of them.
And
greater lesser reasons.
I forgot to also mention too, Mr. Robot, the day you want to open up your freaking cam and everything, go for it. You're more than welcome to. We know how sensitive you are though about the Secret Service and the
Besides, your fans are missing out on your being.
Yeah, like they love you, dude. You should hear people talk about you. They're like, man, that Mr. Robot, he is so cool. I think he's talking to himself again. Like, you gotta turn.
I'm trying to fix my mic. I don't know if
Okay.
it's good yet.
Now, are you going into your computer mic down at the bottom?
I have one, like an external mic that I'm using, and that stopped working, it seems. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, in fact, no echo now. Yeah, there is echo.
Now
Better?
kind of, yeah. Now,
Can you still hear me?
yeah, we can hear you. But yeah, it's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it.
I gotta figure something out with this situation. It's
No,
not
later on,
around it.
we can do some good sound tests and everything. Go through it, kind of get it straightened
Yeah.
out for you, because you're gonna need that anyhow if you're doing like meetings and stuff with people other than this too. You're gonna have to do that.
My little window is lit up as if my mic is like saying stuff. Is
Yeah.
it like
Yeah.
still echoing or something, or feedback? Or?
It's picking up the background audio. So
Oh, there's hard noise in here.
It's not that bad. It's not as bad as I think.
It still works.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
So
Maybe here.
You're too quiet now.
Quiet.
I think it's something that we should do off stream and
yeah, just
Yeah.
hang out and have a good time, man. Don't worry about all that. You know what I mean? If nothing else, talk whenever you're ready to talk. Unmute. You know what I mean? And then whenever you're not talking, mute. So just stuff like that. And then, like I said, I've helped people all the time when it comes to that audio. So don't think you can't like do a share screen with me and we can kind of go through the settings and stuff. I can show you some tricks on the audio. I am pretty good at it. You know, all jokes aside, I've got to admit that. When it comes to your computer
one of the
audio.
courses, actually, funny enough, one of the courses I did do was at college many years ago. Was a audio visual video Navy course.
Nobody ever thinks of that either. Like when you're in school and you're supposed to be learning that stuff and retaining it, you know, they wanted you to learn that stuff for a reason. So, poor Mr. Robot, he's a freaking computer security expert. He can't even control his mic. That's pathetic.
Yeah, it's not my fault. These apps don't work.
I was just testing your audio.
Discord has a nice little feature where you can like press a button on your keyboard and then it records the mic, and when you let the button go, then it stops. And that stops the echo kind of thing, which is nice.
It sounds pretty good right now, believe it or not. So whatever you did, that's good. It actually did a good job on it.
I'm just muting it manually when I'm not talking. So you can't hear yourself.
Besides, if it gets too bad, Logic can always do some post-processing on it.
Not with echoes. That's the hardest thing to replace. It's the hardest thing to get rid of. No, echoes is a pain in the butt. Now I can sync it up. Don't get me wrong, but you're still going to get an echo.
What are we going to talk about? Have we got some current events that we're interested in at the moment?
Yeah, what's your thought on Venezuela?
Venezuela. What do I think about it?
Yeah.
I don't like it, to be honest. I think that it makes more sense to me from like an ethical perspective for the US to control its own borders, which it's already kind of doing. I think the whole narrative of the drugs is bullshit because, like, you know how Trump said it's meant to be about fentanyl. Fentanyl comes from China through Mexico and Canada, not through Venezuela. So I think that's all bullshit. However, the cocaine trade has been going on from Venezuela and South America since the 70s. You know, the CIA has been funding like narco terrorists down there since, like, I found articles dating back to the early 90s at least, probably earlier. And when I was traveling in South America, I spoke to people there that explained to me how the CIA runs their drug operations between Florida and South America, where they hire they basically rent an entire piece of the port, and then they run their own ships with their own truck crews and everything. And then they hide the cocaine in like shipping containers full of bananas and stuff like that. They hide it in the air conditioners. So I think it's like bullcrap how, you know, it's okay for the US intelligence agencies to smuggle cocaine, but then they go and snap up Madero, whatever his name is, for the same thing. And I think it's just totally hypocritical and unethical. I think it's better, it makes more sense in my mind for the US to stop the import of that stuff and to start working on the actual root causes of why people demand this stuff anyway. Like, if you can't get rid of the demand, then it's always going to come in. So you're either going to have to like lower the demand, or you're going to have to let it in a controlled way so that people still can get it in a safe way. To try and just like ban a substance against the will of the people, it's just fucking bullshit. Kind of like totalitarianism in a way. Like, who is some other adult to tell other adults what they can and can't do? It's kind of bullshit in my mind.
How about on the other point of view?
All the war on drugs has done is create more terrorists, fund more like psychopaths that like will do anything. Whereas countries legalized drugs have totally eliminated that entire like mafia aspect. And
ignoring the drug,
I think also it's totally unethical for the US to just go and grab the oil of this country and then go and think they can now go in and take all their oil, or like control their oil, the biggest oil fields on the planet, and their gold and all this, in order to pay off the debt that they've created over like generations. It just makes me icky, because these poor fucking people are already suffering, and now you want to take their country's wealth, God-given wealth. I just think it's
it's not the US that's doing that, it's private companies doing that. After all, the US doesn't have a extreme socialist concept of these companies being owned by the state. But my other thing is, what about ignoring the drug issue for the moment? The oil issue at the moment. What about trying to eliminate despotic regimes and bringing, quote, democracy back to the country, unquote?
Well, look, now that he's gone, I'm happy for the people that they get another chance at freedom. That's always a good thing. But whether they're going to actually get fair elections, it remains to be seen.
Yeah.
The stay-behind people of the previous government are still in power there. I don't see them like letting up without a fight. So we don't know yet what the outcomes are going to be. Most often these things are more complicated than they initially look. And if the US somehow gets drawn into a boots on the ground situation where they actually have to send troops in, this could be worse than Vietnam, which would be freaking not good for anyone. So,
and I'm glad I'm glad
Maduro actually wanted to make peace. He actually offered for the US to bring the oil companies in and do business and stuff like that. But I don't know why this Trump had it in for him so bad.
Now,
I think part of it was like kicking China and Russia out.
Let me add something. I posted this on Nancy's website a little while ago, and Within the Vacuum on mine had shared this, and it's actually a good post. But what it was, I believe it was today. There is retribution, basically, for what took place with Trump and Venezuela. A lot of his top generals have actually turned against the new proxy president down there, and they have gone into basically take them out. There was gunfire that was heard in the Capitol, I believe it was. And it's getting ready to happen there.
Even more reason for elections then, to try and mitigate the possibility of some sort of internal civil war.
Mm-hmm. Now I'll pull up that.
Well, you gotta realize, like, Venezuela has been doing business with like basically every terror group, every gang group on the freaking planet for the last, I don't know, 10 years plus. So like they still have all these criminal organizations in there, including Hamas, including Trendy Aragua, Cartel of the Soul,
now the gateway
It's with guns, with psychos. So I just don't see how this like just suddenly quickly turns into a peaceful situation. It's definitely
Again,
going
one step at a time. One
No,
step
the,
at a
the
time.
Gateway pundit came out with it. It says breaking coup d'etat Venezuela, heavy gunfire Caracas, and there's been gunfire all over the place. So it
Again, we're in very early
I saw
stage.
some video of people walking through the streets with machine guns, but yeah, I don't know.
I got the link here.
Can we bring some up? Can you like share your screen and put some stuff on YouTube up?
Yeah, I'll put it in the link too for you so that you can see it. Let me go ahead and share it. It's an article, so it's not going to be.
I'll do a quick search on Grok as well and see if any latest things.
Yeah, I keep having.
It's one of those situations that you've got to be somewhat patient about. You've got to have to wait and see how this pans out.
Yeah. But here you go. The Bolivian regime
Much like
seems-
what's happening in Iran at this present moment.
The Bolivarian regime seems to be eating itself now. Monday night erupted in heavy firefight in Caracas, more specifically in areas of Miraflores, where the presidential palace is located. This comes a mere hours after the interim president, Delcy Rodriguez, was formally sworn in. Rumors have been circulating that Maduro's right-hand man, Diosdado Cabello, was planning a coup d'etat against Rodriguez. Apparently, her first decisions were not to the liking of the generals of the highly ideological Bolivarian armed forces of Venezuela. Diosdado controls many of the collectivos of Valenzuela, far left, heavily armed paramilitary groups operating independently of the government. So that is what the article says.
I'm wondering if it would be wise for the next government to actually do a sort of housekeeping on the military, clearing out.
It's what I said last night whenever we were on Nancy's show. Okay, I don't think there's going to be any kind of elections there. I think that's pipe dreams that a lot of. It's kind of and it would be great if that would happen, but like this is very, very hostile territory. You know what I mean? Like this isn't going to be cleared up because frickin' Donald Trump sent troops down there and they took over the city.
No.
You know, it's
quite naive.
I can't see that happening. It says here the political landscape in Venezuela remains highly volatile following the U.S. military intervention. U.S. forces conducted airstrikes on key sites in Caracas and surrounding areas after they captured him. Timeline of recent events. There was obviously the Maduro's capture, immediate aftermath and international response, regime consolidation and U.S. statements. I think that's what you just read. And then ongoing developments coming up. Did you see this? Trump administration officials, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance, hailed the operation a success against drug trafficking and oil theft. Oil theft? What? Are they saying the oil was stolen from the U.S.? Right. Emphasizing plans to boost Venezuela's crude oil output without running the country directly. Opposition leader Maria Corina Machado welcomed the move as a huge step forward for humanity. Remember, like, I don't know if you guys have read, she's a kind of a big Zionist, and she wants to. She said if she gets elected, she will move the embassy to Israel, to Jerusalem. Kind of crazy.
Actually, there is a case. There's a potential case for oil theft. There's an argument that's been made that some oil that was on Texas land was redirected to Venezuela. So potentially.
And did you see that thing that just happened with Russia? The US just seized the Russian tanker, and I think they claimed that oil was meant to go to Venezuela or something like that. Or they say they got it from Venezuela or something like that. I'll have to look it up. But in response, Russia has basically said they just like popped up a submarine next to them to say, like, we can sink you right now, basically. And in response, Russia has launched its brand new, biggest submarine that's ever been made in human history.
Yeah, but that's just showing that their cock's bigger than yours, sort of thing.
Well, that too, and I think they also made a statement along the lines of, they're willing to sink US ships.
Yeah, they make a statement. Putin makes a lot of statements. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because that's going to raise a
I don't think Putin fucks around. That's for sure. Let me.
At
least it's not going to happen under the current situation.
I don't think Russia's going to make a move because they're still fighting in Ukraine. You know what I mean? It's going to be a far stretch. Now, if they break out into World War, that could happen. Russia, China, Venezuela, all of them side up against the United States. Probably England and Europe too against us because they all want to get a piece of the action over here.
This raises.
I think we've been in World War III for a while now.
This also raises the question of the potential creation of a EU army as well, which is a bit of a concerning thought.
They've been talking about it. That's the one reason why that's why NATO was an alternative, because the EU and the UN, actually the UN was the one that started it. They didn't want to have a standing military for the UN before they came out with the peacekeepers.
UN has always been peacekeepers, and arguably the last successful engagements were in the 90s during the post-Soviet wars, the Kosovo and Georgia and stuff, and they've been and there's an argument to say that they have been absolutely useless and irrelevant ever since.
I think what happened down in Africa was horrible when they had to pull out of Africa because freaking they were embarrassed. I remember that, like tanks were coming out and freaking people were throwing shit at them and stuff because, like, what was it? It wasn't Congo. It was the one where those girls that were in that school were taken freaking by the militias.
Nigeria.
Yeah, Nigeria, I think is what it was.
And that's still an active conflict. Well,
you remember that? I think it was back in the 90s, maybe the late 90s, early 2000s. So they had to pull out of Africa because freaking, like, they were just completely humiliated. Whenever the locals figured out that the UN couldn't actually do anything, you know what I mean? And that they ended up almost getting boxed in and bad things happening to them. Luckily, they let them out of the country without harm. Because, like, the UN forces, they're not allowed to show force towards.
No, they are just solely peacekeeping organization, right? So.
I think that's actually bullshit, but Anyway, that's for another
Well,
day.
on paper, they are peacekeeping organizations.
Yeah. We should do a whole show on the UN one day. But my cousin actually worked for him. I don't think he does anymore, but he was like an ambassador for the UN. So back on this Russian oil tanker that was seized, I've looked it up. So on January 7 this year, U.S. forces seized 2 sanctioned oil tankers linked to Venezuelan oil trade, one of which was flying a Russian flag and being escorted by Russian naval assets, including at least 1 submarine. This has sparked strong condemnation from Moscow and raised fears of broader confrontation, though no direct clashes occurred. Below is a breakdown. So here we go. Trump's following Maduro's capture and extradition to New York, the Trump administration intensified efforts to block what they call ghost fleet tankers, vessels that are frequently change flags, names, and ownership to evade detection, carrying Venezuelan crude oil. These tankers are part of Russia's shadow fleet, which has increasingly supported Venezuelan oil exports to bypass U.S. sanctions. Russia, a key ally of Maduro, has provided military and economic aid to Venezuela, including air defenses that failed during the U.S. raid. Trump administration frames this as part of a broader strategy to secure Venezuelan oil for U.S. interests, with President Trump stating Venezuela would supply 30 to 50 million barrels of oil to the U.S., with proceeds controlled by Washington. But yeah, so Russia must be pissed. This is what I actually think is the main strategy behind this whole thing, is to kick Russia and China out of South America, because whoever controls that oil field basically, has a really good standing in the future. Because, like, look at Saudi Arabia, right? They're like in the middle of nowhere, but because they have all this oil, they're doing pretty well. And I think that's basically how Trump sees it. It's like a critical asset to have in order to weather the storms coming. But, I think Russia and China probably were getting pretty comfortable with that as an income of crude oil. So who knows? There will be some kind of retaliation somewhere at some point, no doubt.
Not sure. I would have to look at numbers there, but it's worth remembering that both China and Russia are massive countries. And they've got
exactly. And China eats oil like no tomorrow.
Also,
I think China bought 90% of Venezuela's oil. I mean, they had low output, but still, China could just eat infinite amounts of oil, basically. But they did just recently find some more. So.
Yeah, I was going to say also China's activities in sub-Saharan Africa as well. In relation, it's not only just oil; it's also other materials, just rare metals and rare earth metals and stuff.
Yeah, they got 50 million, 50,000 or 50 million tons of gold down there as well. Like, they got a shit ton of gold down there.
I did do some research yesterday, and there was other things like copper, tin, and some other metals as well.
Well, I mean, for that, you got to really do a search and make sure that the majority of that's actually coming from Venezuela, because, like I said last night,
I only did a rudimentary research.
You got Brazil down there, and Brazil is where it's all at. That's where you go for the big gold. All the gold's down there, all of the resources. So, and with China, You know, I don't see Venezuela actually being a part of the big picture because, like, Brazil, Chile, those are the movers and shakers when it comes to agriculture, it comes to minerals, when it comes to all of that they're the ones that make the trades. Like, if China's not buying soybeans from the United States, they're buying it from Brazil.
Well, it's like the argument of Ukraine, isn't it? Ukraine at one point was the so-called wheat basket of Europe. And obviously they've got they're mineral rich as well. So,
and like you look at the way Donald Trump played this out too, like it makes sense to me now why he made it so important that drug cartels and drug dealers should be considered terrorists. You know what I mean? Because this opens up a path for him to go into countries like Venezuela. So he's had this plan for quite a long time. This isn't something that he just thought of, you know.
There was an argument.
I've heard him mention it at least 2016, I think, maybe even earlier. He was already talking about it.
There was a national security aspect in this because if you haven't drugs coming into the US, then that raises issues with national security. Your population is being addicted to.
It's got nothing to do with drugs, man. I don't think he cares that much, to be honest. Like,
No, he doesn't.
yeah, there's a lot of people dying from drugs, but you know, before that, there was a lot of people dying from medicines as well. You know,
well,
like,
I mean, you know that drug
in the US or fentanyl.
Fentanyl,
Remember
okay.
that?
He keeps pushing this fentanyl shit, you know, and the thing of it is more people are dying in the United States from freaking crack cocaine and heroin, dude. Maybe instead of him pushing against China and the fentanyl epidemic, which isn't real, by the way, freaking
and just before all that, even just morphine and like oxycodone and stuff like that. There was like a huge epidemic a while ago.
Yeah, I mean,
big pharma drugs.
Yeah, and he just all of a sudden, you know, none of those drugs matter because fentanyl is the biggest freaking worry that we should worry about. Ladies and gentlemen, fentanyl is killing us all. I don't see fentanyl addicts freaking hanging out down on freaking LA or, you know, in LA on freaking.
Well, it is a pretty insane drug. I can actually see why you'd want to control it as much as possible, but it is almost impossible because it's so potent. Like if you got even just 100 grams of fentanyl in, that's enough to feed a whole freaking town for like 2 years. You know what I mean? It's
then cut it down even further. Yeah.
Yeah, like you know, I don't know how. Like 5 kilos is enough to kill everyone in the US or something like that. You know what I mean?
Don't be talking.
And they've seized tons of it. So,
well, I mean, that's my whole point. It's not freaking as abundant as what he's talking. Like, you know what I mean? There's shitloads of freaking heroin. There's shitloads of freaking opium. There's shitloads of crack, cocaine.
Yeah, but those are our drug dealers, the CIA's drug dealers.
Cocaine.
They're the good guys.
Cocaine
There's enough aspect to this. Words like fentanyl captures the public imagination. It looks good in newspapers. It's also about public perception.
And I still think.
Hey, what about those boats that Trump was blowing up in the ocean? Do you think they were real drug dealers, or was he just doing it for the show? Blowing up random
Those are the real deal. Those are actually cartel boats. That, you know what I mean? But like
But how do you know it's a cartel boat from way up from a helicopter? You know what I mean?
Because they said it was a cartel boat. Why would they lie?
Just like in Afghanistan, how they're like, everyone's a terrorist if we say they are, you know, even after
Iraq, you know, with those weapons of mass destruction that actually existed 100% because they said it did.
Britain, everybody disagrees. yeah, Britain, everybody who disagrees with the government must be far right. Yeah, same sort of concept.
Mhm. The red herring.
Guys, you're starting to sound like crazy conspiracy theorists.
No, not really. We're just.
Might get censored off YouTube.
I'll release that for you.
I
Release that one to you.
never said that any of that was wrong. I was mentioning, how freaking we had weapons of mass destruction in Iraq that needed to be taken out, and we went in as American citizens and did our job, and we brought freaking
Britain.
Australia with us, and we brought England with us.
France, Canada, or Commonwealth. Yeah.
Every one of you guys came with us, and you know why? You don't have.
But did you know that Saddam Hussein was actually trained by the CIA and they put him in power?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that until like a few weeks ago.
Saddam.
Yeah, but we look at a different time. Remember, they was putting her pre the ending of the Cold War. We were still fighting the evil Rush case, quote unquote.
Well, he had real close contacts with the freaking Palestinians back in the day because he was the one who had to train what's his face, and you remember what's his name, the dude that had the funny red and white freaking top on his head. He was part of the PLO or the Palestinians. He's the one who died.
Osama bin Laden.
No.
Oh, you're talking about I can't see his face.
Oh, Yasser Arafat or something.
Yeah,
No.
Could have been Arafat.
Name escapes me.
Yasser Arafat. Could have been him. He was a PLO. Well, what basically Saddam Hussein is an Egyptian origin. He wasn't even Iraqi. Okay. He was.
That's so crazy, eh? Like they just pluck him out of Egypt, chuck him as the leader of Iraq.
Arguably, Saddam Hussein brought some stability to the country. Because you could have turned into a massive civil war long before.
Well, I mean, it's like whenever
you guys see the pictures of how much gold the American military took out of Iraq? It was like literal shipping containers full of gold, like bricks of gold. And where is that gold now? Like we don't know. Like Trump won't even show us Fort Knox. I bet there's no gold in there. So like, where is all this fucking gold?
There's a country song that's out. It says all the gold in California is in the bank in the middle of Beverly Hills. So
whatever happened to that so-called audit of the Fort Knox?
That was
happened.
Yeah, remember Musk and Elon and Trump was meant to live stream it when they go into Fort Knox, and they were getting everyone excited, and then all of a sudden it's like never talked about again.
Well, from what I've heard, they stopped.
I bet they found out there's nothing there.
Yeah, there's nothing in there, and I heard that they actually store like biological weapons and stuff in there too. Like some of the world's worst biological weapons are stored in different areas of it too. So, because it's not just for gold and stuff. It's got other purposes too.
I understand that Fort Knox is really just a document repository.
Mm-hmm. I used to drive by there all the time, man. Freaking, you got it's amazing because you can look right from freaking road and see freaking Fort Knox, like open eye view, and don't just trust me. Don't get out of the vehicle and try to walk towards it. You won't make it too far. And it's different there than what it is at the White House. You try it at the White House, they'll tackle you, arrest you and stuff. You do it at Fort Knox, they will shoot you in the head. At least that's what I've been told.
I might not test that out.
So it's 6:53. I've got to get everything set up for quantum gathering here in the.
I was just gonna say, well, this is where remote viewing would be a good thing, you know. Like, if you want to know what's in there, you can just go check it out with remote viewing. You can't get shot in the head.
Well,
Just saying, guys.
We're gonna
Check out
quite skeptical.
We're gonna set up a time and a place where you can do a remote viewing session, Mr. Robot, and we can freaking see it live. Okay, so they got cut off, which is good. That'll give me a chance to stop the recording. I'll switch it over, put some music in, and then we can come back and we can start with the quantum gathering once it's starting. Actually, I need to double check to make sure that that was actually them and not me. So that's true. Drop the screen real quick. I'll be right back. So yeah, because that could have been me, to be serious. Good call, make sure.
Number. So when I'm a blindfolded person gets a number, a case number for the study, and on the other side of the world, that number is associated with a picture. On that picture is the Eiffel Tower, and the remote viewer draws a building that looks exactly like the Eiffel Tower, and you got to go, well, shit, that's pretty interesting because it could have drawn anything.
As long as it can be
replicated. Stuff that
replicated.
happens all the time.
Again, as long as it can be replicated, because coincidences do happen.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of, like, once you have like 4 or 5 or 6 people doing, and they all draw the same thing, that's when you start to get really good. And we're not talking just basic shapes. We're talking about like complex situations, like, you know, war zones, what people are thinking and feeling, all sorts of stuff like that. You know, very interesting. But anyway, I digress.
Really